Good morning, Captain. Morning to anybody else, afternoon, evening, whenever it is that you happen to watch this back. So, Delta Flyer time. Yeah. Guess we'll get right to it. So, a few things. First and foremost, LDO provided the kit. Canrog, what's up? It is, in fact, done. No, it's not done. We're just starting. LDO provided the kit. Cookie CAD was kind enough to provide the filament. So thank you to both of them. Both of them have proved to be amazing people, amazing companies. We printed this in Witch's Blue. I think it's Witch's Blue Elixir is what it's called. ABS and Green Apple Elixir. Oh yeah, I can't wait. It's my first Delta. I've never even, so I obviously, been in 3D printing for a long time. I've seen a Delta in person. I have seen Deltas printing. I have never seen a Delta printing in person. All the Deltas that I've ever seen printing are on the YouTubes. For those that don't know, Canrog is the designer of the Delta Flyer. Morning, Kegel. How's it going? So, happy to have Canrog here with us. It is always great to have folks come and hang out while we build their project. Canrog, I don't know what you're up to, but if you want to come on to the stream via Discord call, you let me know. I'll grab the computer and get it all set up. But yeah, you're welcome during any of the build streams. Talk about your project, any other projects you got going on. All right. If you want to put on clothes, I'll hook up a computer. Why is Google signing me out of everything? All right, I'll grab a computer. All right, so all right, I've got the build manual pulled up. Let me go over here, grab a computer. I gotta go grab headphones too. Please stand by. Be right back. Sorry, folks. All right, I'm back. Had to go inside, grab this computer. Next. Bear with me here, folks. Maybe this is going to launch settings. Holy crap. Does not want to launch anything on this computer. There we go. Maybe. All right, here we go. Canrog. One moment. Oh, this stupid thing. What's up, Canrog? Bear with me for a second. You might not even be able to hear me. I gotta get this Canrog, if you can hear me, I'm gonna call you right back. I gotta disconnect and reconnect all this stuff. What are you doing? Why are you not showing up? Not sure why it's not letting me connect, or why it's not seeing these headphones. All right. I'm sorry, guys. Technical difficulties here. Let me just restart that. Blam! How's it going? Oh, yeah. Cookie Cad, welcome to the stream. Thanks for supporting the channel. These are some JBL, whatchamacallit, but so the computer sees them, but for some reason, the app that takes the audio output and splits it so that it goes both to the headphones and to the HDMI to go out to the streaming computer isn't seeing the headphones. So I can't hear Canrog unless I put him on my speakers, which is going to cause horrible audio for y'all. Hey, appreciate the recommendation. Glad you're here. Sorry that you're showing up in the middle of the utter clusterfuck that is trying to get streaming stuff to work. Holy shit. Got an eyelash in my eye. Free Alien Workshop, welcome to the stream. So, for those that don't know, Friday nights is normally a program on channel called Makers Making Podcast. Free Haven Workshop's going to be joining us on that going forward. What is this computer doing? No. Continue desktop. I don't want to do any of this. If I wanted to do it, I would have done it years ago. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Connected to the Bluetooth headset. Now let's launch this stupid app. This is so much easier when I do this on the Mac because I just put in my AirPods and everything's fine. The issue why we have to do it this way is because the board in here does not have there we go. Lovely. Does not have Bluetooth on the controller board for the streaming computer, so I can't hook up headphones and all that good stuff. All right, Canrog. We should be good now. Can you hear me? I'm not picking up your audio.
No, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? All right, let's try this. Can you hear me now? Yeah, looks like you can hear me now.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay. Can you all hear Canrog? Say something so I can see if you're coming up on the audio input for OBS. Blam is saying yes.
Yay.
Okay, perfect. Love it. Okay, so Canrock, welcome to the stream. Let's go over here to this one. And let's make you nice and big. Center of attention. There we go. So there's Canrog. Canrog, thanks for coming on, hanging out. So, like I was saying, Cookie Cat, we're going to just do this for, flip this for 1 second. We're going to put we're going to put this one center page and then this one above it. And this one above it. Shrink this thing down. That way these things appear as they should. All right. So you designed the Delta.
So I designed all of the cooling stuff. And then Rolahan did the general design. I cleaned it up, fixed the CAD, added everything, all the details, like bolts, nuts, heat inserts. Made the website. the manual. Yeah.
So joint venture.
Yes.
Team effort. And then just out of curiosity, how long from start of development to we've got a product ready to ship did it take?
So the LDO kit stuff took about a year from when Rolohan started the initial talks with them.
Okay.
He's had a Delta Flyer ready before that. So this Delta Flyer kit that you're building is kind of a redo of the old Delta Flyer that's now called Legacy, I think. So it didn't have extrusions. It had linear rods and bearings, and it was harder to enclose because the rods and bearings were kind of up on the outside of the entire thing. But yeah, all the stuff with LDO, I think if you look at it just from when we started to look at what's needed in the kit to the end of the kit being launched, it's about 6 months.
Wow.
Because there's a lot of shipping time and testing and back and forth.
Yeah.
Figuring out stuff. Luckily, both me and Roland have a lot of parts that we can just test. If we figure out that something's wrong with the kit, we might have to test something else, try something, get more screws, get less screws. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun just figuring out how to do stuff efficiently.
Yeah. I've always been curious of the development timeline for things like this. Like, obviously, if people are designing it and just like, oh, here, source it yourself, figure it out, whatever. That's, almost a zero timeline other than the GitHub update. But
when we did the first Rook kits back in the day with West 3 and Fabrico, it was much more of we've just made a normal BOM and a CAD file, and they kind of took it on themselves to figure all that stuff out. They both customized their kits in different ways. And then when LDO came in, they gave a lot more of that control back to us. So they said, tell us what you need in a kit, and then we can go back and forth a little bit about specific components. Like we wanted one main board. They said, can we use this instead? They wanted a specific hot end because they had a lot of stock. And so with the Delta Flyer kit, it was a little bit different because we designed the printer around what they wanted to use for parts. So the hot end is the same. Both the hot end and extruder is the same as the Rook kit, so we already knew how all that worked, and designing around it goes a lot quicker. Figure out mounts and all that stuff. One big issue was all the wiring for this. We wanted to keep the custom wiring minimal. So it's not the usual LDO custom wires. And it's simply just to save on the budget, because this is a budget build kit. Yeah.
Trying to find where these carbon fiber arms are. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to ignore you. So it was LDO then that wanted to go with this main board, the Big Tree Tech DZ01.
No. So that is all on me.
Okay.
So back when I started my YouTube channel, I got a contact at Big Tree Tech.
Okay.
And I randomly, while doing one of my other videos about something Big Tree Tech board related, I found on their GitHub, I found the files for the DZ01. And back then there was nothing more than just a little picture of it. So I messaged my Big Tree Tech person, and they basically said that they had no information. And I later found out that the DZ01 was specifically designed to be a OEM board and not for resale. So it was meant for big scale printer sales, not for normal people like us.
Okay.
And I'm not 100% sure about the exact details of it, but at some point, Big Tree Tech more or less just gave up that project. But they had a lot of boards, and LDO does have more contact with Big Tree Tech than I did. So when they talked to them, they basically just said, "Here's everything we have." So more or less all the DZ01s that exist are in Delta Flyer kits. There are a few around about, but most of them are going to be in Delta Flyer kits.
Yeah, it was interesting to try to find information. When I looked it up on AliExpress, it was like $300 and some for a board. Like, this doesn't seem right. Brad, welcome to the stream.
They're considered rare, like super rare, because they are only in Delta Flyer kits, and the ones that are sold outside of that are either just someone had gotten them from Big Tree Tech at some point, or maybe some supplier had bought a couple. But for large scale, there's only been one buyer, and that's LDO.
All right, now I've got a question because I'm not seeing it here. What am I using to put together these arms? So I've got the jets. I've got 2 different carbon fiber tube lengths.
Yes.
I don't know what screw is going in between them.
So you should have a pack. Actually, it's separated into 2 packs of just M3 threaded rods. They're tiny. I think they're 20 or 25 millimeter long.
Okay. M3 by 30 or 6 of them.
Yeah, so there should be another pack like that because you need 12.
Back. Check the other bag.
Yeah, so we got to a point where all the kits were done, manufactured, ready to ship, and we figured out that we were missing a whole bunch of stuff, and that's why there's a spare bag.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's easier to add that bag than to have to repack everything.
So I've got some set screws too. Really long set
those
screws.
set screws, I don't know why they're there.
I'm not going to argue with it if they don't get used. I've got a drawer for set screws.
Yep. 3 screws. So which
of the carbon fiber rods am I using for this?
So the pack with the most in it, that's the one you're using.
Okay. The other ones are just spares, or are they used somewhere else?
So we included 2 sets of normal tubes. So there's 2 complete sets. So there's 12 tubes. That is mostly just because we anticipate that some people might have to redo some stuff, and maybe they're breaking some arms.
Okay.
The other set that's packaged in by itself, that is MP Jet arms. So there's a specific joint that's called MP Jet.
Okay, so that's not.
And they need a different length.
And that's not the one included with the set.
Yeah, so the ones included with the set are not as good as MP Jets, but they're really good. I've tested both the MP Jets and the one that's in the kit, and I can't tell a difference in print quality. So,
yeah, I've got MP Jet makes arms for RC cars.
Yes, so the ones that we use and those in the kit are also. Yeah, so the arms in the kit, the joints in the kit are from RC cars. It's a common Delta thing.
Getting these things threaded so that they're not warp jawed is always fun. They'll eventually pull themselves straight, but
so for these, you want to use 2-part epoxy or some really good CA glue.
yeah, I've got some 2-part epoxy over here. I'm just trying to get the threaded rod installed first. I was going to do this off camera. I was going to do it before I
would suggest that you do one on camera and then you can do the rest later, because you won't get to the point where you're going to need them anyways today.
That was exactly my plan. So I wanted to like kind of show the process on camera of how you make them, but also you've got to let the epoxy set up anyway. So
yeah. So I did the thing that you're not supposed to do. I just printed 6 jigs and glued them all at once. I don't recommend doing that, but I was in a time crunch to build this. So I would recommend that you glue one at a time. Wait, maybe depending on the epoxy that you're using, but maybe wait until it's almost fully cured and then take it off and do another one. I know that Rolohan tried both methods of doing all at once and also doing it one by one, and the one by ones are more precise. And the thing about deltas is everything needs to be spot on for it to work. So I only threaded those into the joints by about 5 millimeters, maybe 6. That should be more than enough.
all right, let's see where we're sitting at. Oh yeah, we're way past 5 or 6 millimeters.
So if anyone wants to build this and they don't have the kit with the threaded rods, they could just do take a normal M3 bolt and you just cut the head off. Because that's pretty much what it is. That's what's in my arms, because I didn't get my threaded rods until way later in the build.
Let's see if there's any questions in chat. No questions in chat, really? Nick, how's it going? I need somebody to DM RJ and let him know we're live, since he doesn't want to turn on notifications. I keep forgetting I'm supposed to send him a direct message personally. Concierge service for RJ. So, how was Christmas?
Really good. My Christmas is not typical, because I go out of my way to not talk to anyone.
Fair. That is fair. Like anybody on the internet or just anyone?
No, in internet, that's okay. So this whole period from like right before Christmas to over New Year's, for me, that's just don't go outside, don't do anything with people if you don't really want to. It's all about relaxing and doing as little as possible.
Excellent.
So Christmas Eve was just me and my girlfriend had a nice dinner and got each other some presents, and that's it. That's Christmas for me, not this whole big thing.
Yeah.
How about you?
Really good. So once again, blessed this year to be able to provide the kids with the things they wanted, because it was a rough year going into it, and then Christmas miracle once again. I was able to get things under the tree that they wanted. So I am
That's good.
super excited.
As long
about
as you're
that.
happy, then that's all you need.
Oh yeah. I've never been a person that cared about getting things myself. It was always, can I provide and can I make Christmas magical for my kids?
Yeah.
It's actually caused some friction at times with other people. Not friends or anything, but family. Like, we get stuff for your kids and you don't get anything for ours. I didn't ask you to get anything for my kids. You decided to do that. Every penny I have goes towards my kids for Christmas. Like, I'm not buying for 30 other people. I know it might sound selfish, but everybody has their priorities in life. And I appreciate
over here, there's sort of
stuff,
an unspoken rule that if someone gets kids, you don't give them Christmas presents. You give their kids Christmas presents.
Yes. And they're not buying for me, but they're like, why didn't you buy for our kids? Well, I don't have the means to do so.
Yeah, prioritize your own and then do what you can. Hey, Viking.
Plastic bonder, probably not the right glue.
I'm surprised Viking's here. He's usually just busy working on Tinker Atlas.
Maker Viking, what's up, bud? Havoc, how's it going? Clown Hammer, Nick. I miss anybody? Raj, Brad, Captain. I think I got everybody. All right. We might be buying a new tube of epoxy later today, because Jesus.
Yeah, I've always preferred the ones that come in 2 different tubes.
Oh yeah, like JB Weld and stuff. Me too.
Yeah.
This is JB Weld, but this is solid as a rock.
Yeah, those there's 2-into-1 syringes and stuff. They usually just harden up way quicker.
Yeah. What have I got in here? I do have some. It's for metal, which, I mean, I guess it's JB welding to a screw. We think it's gonna JB weld to.
So talking with Paul Fair, who's kind of the Delta specialist and the one who's using this technique, pretty much any 2-part epoxy will do. There are some people that have used CA glue, but we don't know the long-term effect of using CA glue at this point. The most important thing is that you have a glue that fills all the gaps between the screw and the rod.
Yeah. All right, well. Holy crap, I get to clean out my drawer of epoxies today. The one that I always try to keep on hand, and it's not available in the 2 tubes, it's the JB Weld plastic bonder. It works incredibly well for anybody that's looking for JB welding or printed stuff together. got to plug in this laptop. Seriously? This laptop's really old. Its battery doesn't stay going for long. But anyway, like I was saying, this JB Weld plastic bonder works really well for plastic stuff. Yeah, I try to use gloop or acetone welding whenever possible, but it's not always possible. And then I 3D print my mixing sticks.
I usually have popsicle sticks at the workshop for stuff like that.
Yeah, I used to buy them because you could buy them in packs of like 100 for next to nothing at the craft stores.
Yeah.
And then I found this 3D printed file, and what's nice about it is it's thin on one end and a thick paddle on the other.
Nice.
And it gives me something to print when my rolls get down to nothing.
Yeah, just finishing off a lot of small things on ends of filament. It's always a good thing.
All right, so well coated on these screws then. Uh-oh. One of my headphones died. Is the other one still working? Doo-doo. I can't tell if I can hear you or not.
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. One of my headphones died. These headphones are crap. They've been around for a long time. The left side doesn't want to charge and also doesn't want to whatchamacallit, stay charged when it does charge.
Yeah. I've always been the guy that couldn't wear normal like AirPods and stuff. Just because it annoyed my ears. And then so I've always used over the ear headsets, and I'm a big guy, so I get really sweaty.
Yeah.
And so I switched to using in-ear monitors, which I actually like, because I don't have to force them all the way into my brain.
Oh, that's nice. I'll have to look into those.
So yeah, so on my computer, I just have a wired set of in-ear monitors, and at my shop, I usually just use my phone ones because I have a set of wireless in-ear monitors that I usually just they're just Bluetooth. I even have a set with a microphone on it, but I don't use it that much. Oh no, it's Mike. You didn't really miss anything. Just gluing up the arms.
So one of the things I saw Rollahan posted a video on is that which camera? When you're doing this, push both of these to one side so that it's the right length and lined up.
Yeah, that's just make sure that the joints are always going to be having the same range of motion. Because if you twist one of them one way, the other one the other way, you might lose range of motion, and that will end up to your printer binding. So that part is really important.
All right. So that's one arm glued up. The other
Havoc says that he prefers nothing in or over the air bone conduction buds. I've tried those, and usually the reason I use my headset when I'm out is to block everyone else out. So having bone conduction just defeats the purpose. But yeah. I do get the reason why people like them so much.
Yeah. So the nice thing about bone conduction ones, if you are in an insanely noisy environment, right? Where this, you have to turn the volume up super high to be able to hear it over whatever is going on in the ambient. Yeah. I had a set of bone conduction, and you didn't have to adjust the volume at all. You could still hear it just because of the way it works, I guess.
Yeah.
The audio quality, nowhere near the same, though. For the ones I had, anyway.
So my inner monitors that I use that are wireless, they are noise canceling as well. So when I put those in, I can't hear anything, and that's why I like them. I don't like to have background noise if I'm on the bus or anything.
Okay, carriage pieces. Ooh. Says that there's a built-in support inside of a carriage piece, and I'm not even seeing it.
So in the carriage piece, if you look at that spire sticking up, underneath it, there's a hole. It looks like two holes, but it's supposed to be one hole.
So in these pieces here?
Let me see. So yeah, so in those pieces on the part that you're holding closest to your arm, there's a big hole with a center divider in it. That center divider is not supposed to be there. It looks like yours has already fallen out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yours are already good.
Like either I'm going crazy or something's different here.
They should fall out pretty much on their own, so they could have just fallen out when they're in the box. Some of these supports are not big at all, so they tend to fall out, which is the whole point of them anyway. So, and the reason why we do built-in supports instead of telling people to use supports is so that it's easier to print. You just click print and go. You don't have to worry about it.
Oh yeah. The parts printed incredibly well. I didn't have any issues getting these things printed, which sometimes you can. EZAXBY. And then what are we putting together? The top? Start of the project when you have a mountain of parts to dig through is always the best. What headset am I using, Clown Hammer? This is just an old set of JBL True Wireless 230s or something. I've had them for quite a while. I much prefer my AirPods, but we're not on one of my Macs. ISO tunes makes hearing protection in ear. Yes, so I know there's a couple companies that do that. My work cries the blues about them. They don't want people having headphones. They don't want.
Yeah, I know people that have worked in places where you're not allowed to have audio in your hearing protection, and others that just don't care. So it also, that's a factor. If you're working in an environment where there's a lot of noise, some places might not let you use audio.
Yeah. It's going to be real fun when I have to have hearing aids here shortly, because my hearing aids will definitely be Bluetooth enabled. So yeah. I got a doctor's note. You can go fuck yourself.
Yeah. I know a couple of people that has those, and they abuse the system, but in a good way.
All right, so he said, let me get my Steve Builds part tray. Dump out all the stuff I should have sorted where it needs to go, but haven't. Okay, so one,
so
two.
In total for the entire build, there's 96 heat sets.
That's not too bad. I'm just trying to figure out where they all go. Okay, this is starting to make more sense. I'm looking at the picture and thinking that parts are this way, oriented this way, and they're not. They're oriented the other way.
Just saw a little typo on the manual, so I'm going to fix that.
So it's really cool that your project has gotten as much attention as it has, with as many people building them on streams as there has been.
Yeah, so when we were talking with Aldio, we made sure that we set aside some kits to be sent out for people to build them. It's kind of the easiest way to get people to talk about them, is to get the creators to build them.
Yeah.
And since neither me or Roland really stream that much, sending it to people like you and Steve and Canuck Creator and Killer Prince and a couple of others, it's just the easiest way for us to get the word out.
Yeah. I do apologize for being late to the party. I spoke with Jason early on, and with the spinal surgery, I wasn't sure how that timeline would play out. So we agreed just to wait till after the surgery. I have not taken Corgan out there. To do this, figured it was the best
you're
way
still
to
ahead of
both
a
sides.
lot of people, though.
Yeah.
So West 3D and KB 3D, I think, and Fabrico, they have started shipping their kits, but the European and Australia, they have not started shipping the kits. So you're still ahead of most people, I think.
Yeah, I actually went and picked this kit up from KB3D, because they're close enough to be,
Yeah, easier to ship.
Yeah, it's like a 2-hour drive, so I was just like, hey,
easier.
I'll just go pick it up from KB3D, and then Jason and
That
Chris
makes
took
sense.
care of it on the back end or whatever. I can tell you what, this cookie CAD film printed so incredibly well.
The only cookie CAD stuff that I've tested is TPU. I actually won it at Smurf last year.
I really want to try their TPU because they've got some crazy nice colors for TPU. Nobody else is doing
I have a
stuff
rainbow
like that.
or a color changing blue, purple, and pink. And then I have a hot pink TPU that I still haven't opened yet. I need to figure out a fun project to do that.
Yeah. And they've got TPUs to match the colors of some of their filaments. So
yeah. So Cookie CAD isn't that easy to get a hold of over here, so it's not as easy as just ordering it. I did talk to them last year at Smurf, and they did say that they're trying to get more European sellers, which is what I need them to do.
Kegel, this is actually just a tri-extrusion filament printed with the centrifugal top layers so that it goes around like that. And then you get the
I do
color
like that
change.
effect.
Yeah. Try the dual extrusion filaments and the tri-extrusion filaments. I absolutely love. I find so many uses for them when you've got a top surface that's going to be your main thing. And the way you print your top surface layers can give you some really cool effects. Versus, I'm not a huge fan of like the rainbow filaments, where it's changing colors, because that's really hard to dial in and get stuff in just so a fashion.
I recently got some testing filament from someone, and I tested. I had to do a couple of prints to figure out how long of a print or how much filament do I need to use in the slicer to get one full color change. And then I just counted how many colors there are in the spool, and then I sliced a model and then adjusted the filament, the infill filament, to get to the desired weight. It's a whole thing to get it to print the entire rainbow in a print.
Yeah.
But it's if you can get that effect right, then it's really cool. I also have like the Cookie CAD TPU I talked about. It's 2 or 3 colors. But TPU prints, they're usually super small, so I only get like one color at a time.
Yeah.
I printed. I have a little wheel here, and it just looks purple, pink. Because it's so tiny.
Yeah, fortunately or unfortunately, most GPU prints are small.
Yeah.
So for everybody in chat, I've got a question for you. Do you prefer when your streamer goes ahead and pre-installs all the heat sets in a build, or do you prefer them to do this, stand there and put heat sets in while you're watching? Now, two of these pieces are the same, and one of them is different, right?
So for those middle pieces, yes, you have. So there's a top and a bottom frame, and each of those frames has 3 of those pieces, but one of them on the top and one of them on the bottom are just slightly different. There's just one less heat set in it.
So you guys opted to go with no screen on this. Was that a...
Yes, that's on purpose, just to save on money. I think it's also one of those things where both me and Rolahan have pretty much 0 printers that have screens on them. So we're used to not having screens. And even though I've put screens on some of my printers, I usually just don't use them.
Mm-hmm.
And Clipper is super easy to use on practically anything nowadays. So, but I do expect there to be some mods for screens coming soon.
Yeah, you could easily fit like one of those little V0 displays on the front of this thing.
Hello, Shrimp Father.
Martin, what's up?
Kegel wants to know if there's a mount for a screen. So there is someone that made a mount for a Nomi screen, the little round one. I did consider making a little side-mounted vertical screen, but I haven't found a small screen that I like that can be done vertical. I did initially think about the Voron V0, the tiny screen, but I can't do it vertical. It needs to be horizontal, and I don't like the look of it.
Well, V0 screen having a second MCU is kind of a...
It makes it just super easy to just plug it in, add the config, and done.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just use my phone. I have most of the printers that I use normally. I've set up a home screen shortcut to open the bookmark in the browser, so it's super easy to just open my phone, click the icon.
Aria, stop yelling. What is it?
When are we going to the store?
I didn't know we were.
We are.
Well, this afternoon.
Why can't we go later?
We can go later. That's what I said.
We can go in 2 minutes.
No, we can't go in 2 minutes.
When will you do done with this?
In a little while.
I have a K-Touch that I did set up for this, but I'm not used to using a screen, so I just don't use it, and it ends up just being in my way, more or less. Octo Everywhere works flawlessly on everything.
Yeah, Octo
I have
Everywhere
tried
is
apps
great.
like Mobile Raker, but I prefer just having Clipper in the browser.
Octo Everywhere is fantastic. Just once you've got a lot of printers, man, the cost for it is quite high. I think it costs like $15 a month.
Yeah, I used Octo Everywhere for a while, and then because where I am now, I only have 2 printers. The rest of them are in my workshop, which is not in this building. But I just end up not using the printers, and I used to have a computer over there that I could just remote into and do it that way. And I should set something up like that again.
AX.
But yeah, normally I just pull up my phone It's pretty much always there. If I'm doing a lot of like bigger things, so on the big printers that I can't put on my desk, if I'm doing some like a big calibration stuff or I'm working on the setup, I could just bring my laptop.
Oh, wait a minute. There's both of these are called CZ.
Yeah, so the top and the bottom. So there should be 2 of each letter sets, and there's a top. So one's the top, the one's the bottom.
I was just assuming that like top would be like, you know, A's, AX, AZ, whatever.
Yeah, so the A, B, and C, that's a delta thing. So because they don't have X, Y, and Z, they have just pillar A, pillar B, and pillar C, and it's a counterclockwise, which is annoying, but that's how it is. So pillar A is on your left, pillar B is on the right, and pillar C is the back one. And then we put the X, Y, and Z on there because that's where you plug the motors into the board. So to keep it as simple as possible, whatever motor you have on the one that's on X, that's you plug that into X.
It's on me. I was assuming that there would be a differentiator in the lettering schemes for top and bottom.
No, it's the same because so a delta it's more or less just 3 identical axes that just move in one direction, and they're all, in theory, they should be the same, but because of things mounting to the printer and stuff, they're slightly different, all of them. So it's the letters are mostly there just to help you recognize which one is which. So in the manual, we do reference some special setups for like the B pillar, as you would call it, the one corner of the printer. The B corner has the door attachment to it, and then the C has the all the wiring going into it. So that one's different. Basically, use the screen for quick status checks. Everything I use for it could be accomplished with just double lights or something simple. Yeah, so on my Delta Flyer and at least 2 of my other printers, I've set up just RGB lights for status stuff, so I can see when it's heating, I can see the print status, and I can see if it's done or not. So in this kit, there is a small RGB strip, and because of how that whole the heating up, color changing, and the print status thing, those are separate scripts, and to keep everything simple, all the macros have that integrated into them, but in a really simplified way. So instead of slowly changing color when it's heating, it just goes to red. So if you start a print, whenever it's heating something, it'll just go to red.
I like that.
So when the printer's homing, it'll go to green. When the print is finished, there's like a little light show that I programmed into it.
We've got a real good mix of pre-install versus throw on stream. Mike, how's it going, man?
I do know that Connect Creator, Steve Builds, and Killer Prince, they all like that little light show. It's a super simple little macro that just when the print's finished, I have a macro that says rainbow or something. Can't even remember it.
Mm-hmm.
It just cycles through a bunch of colors.
That's cool. Yeah, I purposely avoided watching everybody else's build series on these. Just so I could come into it without any preconceived notions of stuff, good or bad, right?
And you're kind of lucky because those three and two or three other beta testers helped get the temporary manual to the point where it is. So you should have the easiest build out of everyone.
Let everybody else suffer. That's true wisdom right there. Learn from others' mistakes.
Yes. So we do have someone working on a proper build manual. So he'll be taking photos and go a lot more into detail about how the build is going. So the temporary manual was mostly just because we knew that he wasn't going to be finished by the time the kits were out. And then when the streamers, like Steve got his kit about a month before the kit went out to resellers. So I had to make a manual mostly for that reason. And then it kind of evolved from there. The first manual that I sent to him was just a single page in a Word document. I just typed out most of the steps.
All right, are we going through and installing all the heat sets to start with here?
So you could get away with just doing... Because what you're going to do is you're going to build each corner separately. So you could just do enough to get one corner done. And so like the parts you're doing now, the middle pieces, they're not needed until after you're done building the three corners.
All right. The only problem then is I'm jumping around trying to figure out what I have and haven't done. So
if you've done all the 6 corner pieces, you should be ready to start building. I'm going to check my own manual for that first. Yeah, so you can do, if you just do the corner pieces, then you can skip ahead and build all the 3 corners, and then do the tensioners, and then do the rest of the top frame and bottom frame.
I'm going to finish the heat sets in this part here so that they're all in this part. And then I'll make sure the heat sets are in the couple other corner. I think I only missed one corner piece. That the rest of them are done. That way the stream is not entirely me putting heat sets in. I'll wander my way back out here later when I'm hanging out in Discord chat and put in heat sets.
Oh, my kitty? So I have 3 of them. But yeah. This is the second smallest one.
Okay, so these still need heat sets. This has
rookie numbers.
This.
Yeah, don't tell my girlfriend that.
This one needs.
Do take into account that we live in a tiny apartment in the middle of a city, so bases at a premium.
Pay more for the privilege than a big house in the country.
One for each corner of a Delta Flyer. That would be a awfully weird Delta Flyer because one of them is 3 times the weight of one of them. So I can fit at least 12, yes, but that would mean scooping out a lot of stuff.
Yeah, to move from designing 3D printers to designing litter boxes.
Yeah, we do have one of those automatic ones that makes it way easier, but
All right. We'll come back to the rest of these sheet sets later. Assemble corners.
I have 5. Yeah, that sounds like a good number. So my big issue with 5 is that I wouldn't be able to fit in my own bed because my cats sleep in our bed. And that's not a choice that I've made, it's a choice that they've made that I had to just accept.
So we need some M3x30 screws. Looks like they're supposed to be button heads. 3x20. 60. Love sorting through screws. Okay. We've got M3x30 socket heads, but okay,
Yeah,
it does say
socket head is
socket
what
head,
you're
but
gonna
the picture shows a button head.
Yeah, the picture is from my CAD file that has just I have generic screws in all sizes that I use for everything.
We need those. We need some bearings.
It's okay, Mike. Fire away when you remember it.
F695 bearings. So L1000s. So are the motors all the same and just
Yes.
the wires are different?
Yes, all the motors are the exact same. The only reason there's 2 different model numbers on the box is because LDO includes wire length in the model number. So there's 3 long wires and 1 short.
Set screw facing towards the motor. So is this correct?
Yes.
Now we get to go find grub screws.
So I'm assuming that you have the manual on a separate screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the latest update I did to that, I added a dark mode because I had some people making some comments on Steve and Killa's stream about it being too bright.
Yep, that is way better.
So I just yeah,
I
so I
saw
just
the
added a
button.
dark mode to it. No, that is a computer mouse. Don't touch it, please.
Cat's like, did you say mouse?
Yeah, my cat wants to snuggle my computer mouse. It's super annoying. So how scalable is this build? So there's two answers to that. One is no. The second is you'll have to find a limit for the printed frame.
So, scalable in quantity, not in size.
Scalable
You
in
want more
quantity,
Delta Flyer?
super easy.
You want more Delta Flyer? You have to build quantity of Delta Flyer.
Yeah. I would be interested in making a larger version of it. Because I do have experience by making so I did the Bastion for Rollahan, and that is a 180 cubed Core XY, and I don't think that was the limit of how big the printed frame can be, but yeah. So for this one, you can scale it in Z pretty easily. You could just get longer extrusions and longer rails. You could probably just use the rails in the kit and just get longer extrusions though. But in XY, yeah, that's more difficult. So where do you sign up for a Canrog hat in black with purple K? Well, I do have a shop, but I don't have these exact ones in that shop. These are custom.
So it says wire can go left or right, but not up or down. Get these screwed in.
That should be better.
It's one. So does anybody else just really like the way big stepper motors feel in their hands? What's up, Killer
I love
Prince?
it. I have some really big stepper motors in the workshop, and it's always just I giggle every time I pull them out.
Yeah.
Hey, Killer.
Killer Prince got his Delta Flyer going yesterday.
Yes. So he's working on getting some more RGB on his build at the moment.
I'm working on getting less RGB on everything. So, some of my printers are starting to get pretty old. The RGB has been going nonstop for years.
Yeah.
And stuff's starting to die. And when NeoPixels don't update and you're using Clipper to deal with the updating of them, it starts doing a whole lot of compounded errors, which is fine when it's just sitting there. But you start adding those errors in nonstop while you're trying to do a complicated print. Clipper's handling a lot of stuff. Clipper crashes.
Yeah. So I don't really have RGB for the effects. I usually have them for as a work light or just a status LED or something.
Yeah.
Like my personal Delta flyer, which is on my desk under the camera. So my idle light is like 25% purple light, so it gives me this little ambient light over my desk.
Mm-hmm.
And if I start a print, it'll automatically go to the full white.
Yeah, I've just been installing 24-volt white light. And then
Yeah, I have a couple of printers with that too.
It's just on, off, and dimmable, depending on how you set it off.
I have a switch wire that's fully enclosed, and it just has a little toggle switch on the side of it to turn it off and on.
I think my LEDs on my switch wire just hooked up to one of the fan ports.
So if anyone wants the coolest LED setup for a Delta Flyer, you could do a circular RGB strip thing. You can just buy them. That's what I have on my build, because so the kit wasn't supposed to have RGB at all, and then I installed a ring RGB on mine, and I sent the pictures to LDO, and they just said we need to add some RGB, so we added a little strip to the.
Gil said, "Say less." You know what you need to do, Killa? So these strips that you got on it, that you sent me for the outside, just take and cut them, scale them on Z, run a notch down them, and then RGB strip, just like the self-adhesive ones that you can cut to length. That's what I used to do the corners on the box turtle when I first did it. And just peel and stick in there, solder your wires on, count how many NeoPixels you got, and you're off to the races. Then you got NeoPixels all the way up and down the side of it. Come talk to me in 3 years when they start failing. Motherboard doesn't need more ports. Go ahead and pick yourself up one of the WLED controller hubs from XR Bunker or from Chamois. Then you can do as much as you want. He sent me over one of those for project eventually. I think we're gonna do a whole bunch of LEDs in the V0 as soon as I can get access to like the LED side panels. XR Bunker has one of the like ring light things like you were talking about, but goes underneath the bed. Go to UFO or something like that. Really cool.
So because the LED is on the top of this, on my build, I can't really. So the ring is slightly bigger than the tool head, but it doesn't. All the light doesn't get down to the first layer in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So with the LEDs on, I can't see the hot end at all. So what I did is I added a a single RGB LED to the tool head. So mine just lights up the entire thing.
Oops. My stomach is yelling at me for skipping breakfast.
And my Cobra S1 actually just has a WLED strip setup because it's not integrated into the printer. Delta Flare skirt kit for RGB PSU and controller. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like there's definitely room to be had underneath, even if you built like a secondary skirt kind of thing underneath of there.
There's a little bit of room, yeah. I know someone, so I've already toyed with the idea of adding another fan under the bed to circulate hot air.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't have a use for it, so I haven't gone forward with it. I know someone else is working on the same thing. Just add another fan to suck the hot air from the bed and pull it into the chamber to add some chamber heating.
Top frame.
Underglow is cool until you realize that it doesn't hide any dust or anything. It shows up everything under your printers. Doom Flyer, that's a good idea.
Oh,
I have already looked at making custom extrusions for a Delta frame that doesn't need joints, but never gone anywhere with that.
So the issue with Doom cubing anything though is chamber temps start getting to the point where printed parts don't like it.
Yeah.
And it starts destroying itself, so be real careful with that.
If I ever get to a point where I can design and manufacture my own parts that it's not 3D printed, then stuff like that might come. But I'm not at that point when right. Like, yeah. Delta Flyer XL when I have the time, energy, and someone gives me the money. You can make it taller really easy. X and Y is another thing. But I do think that we can use the entire bed because the bed in the kit is 150, but the printable area is 120. And I do think that we can make the printed frames big enough to use the entire 150 bed.
So, question on that.
My issue is that I only have this one printer, and I need it for as long as the kits are still being sold. I need this one to test and troubleshoot. And
if the printable area is only 120, why use a 150 bed?
So there's two reasons. One is that we wanted to get a custom bed from LDO, and the 120 beds would need a lot more printed stuff to fit with the frame. And then there's also no other manufacturer of a decent Delta bed in that size, the 150 size. So we made the bed big enough to integrate it into the frame better, and then that is another thing that LDO can sell. So they will start selling these beds at some point. Yes, Killa, they did send me the first kit. So the kit that I got didn't have any screws or the arms It had extrusions, rails, and they sent me the joints, hot end, and the electronics. And then I had to build a kit. So the first time I built the Delta Flyer, it took me about 6 hours from start to finish. And then I've rebuilt it like 4 times at this point.
Just testing new revisions of parts, or?
Yeah, testing new parts, just testing how to build it for making the manual.
Okay.
Because when I built it, it was more of a, I have a CAD file that I could just look at and then build it. And I did some mistakes that I later have to fix. And yeah, so it's been fully disassembled and put together about 4 times, but partially disassembled hundreds of times at this point.
Hey, RJ showed up. Good morning, RJ. I asked somebody to DM you directly to let you know that we were live because I forgot to send you personalized notifications this morning.
I always wondered why not use a standard square bed on Delta. That has been that was one of the ideas early on. And we were kind of sure that someone's going to make a Voron V0 bed mod for this, because you can fit a Voron V0 bed inside of the frame. But when LDO says that they can build pretty much any bed that we want, we do take them up on that offer.
Yeah, I would have too.
So the nice thing about Voron V0 beds is that they have 3 screws and they're kind of in the right position for this build. I don't have one here just to put on there, but I do see that there is a possibility that someone will make a V0 bed version. So yeah, Killa, there's a big difference between streaming and building, and then me in my workshop with some angry music in my head and just building as quickly as I can.
Okay, so looks like the connector for the end stop should go to the right. Should it do that for all of them?
Yes.
Can't wait till I'm screwing into heat sets. That way I can use my electric screwdriver. I don't want to strip out the plastic on these things.
Yeah, that would be nice, Killa. Maybe not Simple Core, because that's the one printer that Rollahan has that I have nothing to do with. It's the one printer that I haven't done a single thing on it. But I do think Rollahan would be up to that. He would be the best guy for that stuff.
Rollahan has so many different printer projects. It's crazy.
Yes,
I didn't realize
he does.
it.
And if people think that the published printers are a lot of different stuff, the unpublished stuff is way worse. He's got a lot of ideas. The biggest issue that he has is that he doesn't have enough time to do it all.
He was on a stream or a podcast.
Yeah, we can figure that out.
Shortly after the Rook. And he was talking about all the different stuff. Can't remember. I know I was driving back from New Jersey when I was listening to it, but
my mic changed. Echo. Okay, I'll see what that is. I'll just replug my mic. So that's my mic looks good.
yeah. Let me see. Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not on my end, so
Try that. Is that better, guys?
let's see. Can people hear me? Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fixed.
Yeah, that was me. My bad.
It wasn't me.
No, it was me. The way I have it set up, there's a couple different options for how to grab the laptop audio, depending on how, because different apps output at different audio levels. So I got lazy and just set it up for two different ones, one at a higher gain than the other, and both of them were turned on.
So how we do it says that there's no need to fix the echo if you turn on disco lights. So I'm just gonna sit here doing this just all the time.
Surprised nobody yelled about it at first. Must not have been too terribly bad. I mean, it is grabbing it from the same place, so.
So that if anyone wants to do that little LED stuff on any printer, the macros that I made for the Delta Flyer works on any printer with LEDs. They're really simple.
Attach 2020 experience to the top corner using M5 by 10 screws and T-nuts. Why not put the, just out of curiosity, why not put the motors at the top, considering...
Wait.
Okay.
Putting them at the bottom makes the whole printer just more stable, and it gives more room for electronics. Oh, it seems like I fell out of the stream. Oh, do you need to see my face? That...
Oh, wait a minute.
I'm
okay.
back.
Let's try that.
Yep.
So, let me know if the echo is still gone.
What is the brains of the Delta? So the Delta Flyer kit from LDO uses a Big Tree Tech DZ01. It is a board you cannot get unless you get the Delta Flyer kit. You can get it from AliExpress for about $300. So don't do that, please. Just buy a Delta Flyer kit. It's cheaper.
So, here's the board. It's got essentially a CB1 kind of hard soldered onto the board?
Yes. So it's so the closest thing that I can compare it to is a Manta M4P, but the CB1 is integrated into the board, and then they have a fifth slot for another hot end. No, not another motor. So there is a motor slot number 5, but you need a easy driver to put in it.
That's interesting.
So how would you go about getting a replacement without the kit? So that is LDO's issue, not mine. But I would just get M4P, SKR Pico, and a Pi, or there's a lot of options in this whole 4-motor board segment. So it's not an M5P just because the DZ01 has 4 integrated stepper drivers, and then there is a slot to put in a fifth. So if someone builds something where they want to use like 2 Z motors or 2 extruders, or for any reason need a fifth motor, it's there. Or if you use a tool head board and then put that second or fifth motor in, you have 6 motors, which means you can do a triple Z.
Now we've got
So don't get the DZ01 on AliExpress for 200. That is a horrible price, and I'm not sure why they sell it at that price. It is a rare board, but you might as well just buy a Delta Flyer kit and get a printer in it as well.
probably a situation where they sunk a bunch of money into production R&D on a small batch, never got a commercial buyer for it, so you're paying for all the R&D and all that stuff on board.
So LDO do purchase these stuff in bulk, right? So they get a discount, but the price that they paid for the boards is nothing compared to that AliExpress price right now.
Yeah, considering you can buy an entire... Before you do that, just go ahead and buy an entire another Delta Flyer kit for the same price.
And then you can build another Delta Flyer and then just get a Pico or a SKR Mini or M4P. Or my favorite little board right now is it's been for a while, the Micro 4 from Mello. It's just a shame that Mello's documentation is less than ideal.
Oh, I hate hammerhead T-nuts.
So the original design for the Delta Flyer can fit D5P from Mello. It can fit an M4P. There's a lot of different ports that will easily fit in the top of it. There's a lot of room. And if I'm not mistaken, the M5P is smaller than the M4P just because it was later in their development. Cracking on a Delta Flyer. There is someone that is building a all-wheel drive version of the Delta Flyer. So they've put motors at the top. He might be doing like a Kraken or something.
Okay, is this supposed to be roll-in T-nuts or is it just hammerhead T-nuts?
Hammerhead T-nuts.
Okay.
Yeah. And as much as we would have liked to do roll-ins, the only reason there's hammerhead is that the hammerheads are half the price.
Right then. So I'm gonna put the hammerheads in my drawer. I'm gonna grab some roll-in.
Yeah, if you want to use roll-ins and you have them, do it. Why not?
It'll make my life a whole lot easier. And I don't have to worry about, you know, the T-nut not spinning in all the way or something.
Octopus flyer.
Octopus flyer seems like a terrible idea. David, how's it going, man?
The tire tube, yeah, that was a brain thing that I had. I was working on the flyer, trying to figure out the easiest way for everyone to get some decent rubber, because with the stock joints in the kit, you want some pre-tension. So the kit comes with just a little bag of rubber bands, and that's okay for normal printing. But I did find out that when you have your printer at like 60C temps, chamber temps, over a long period of time, that rubber kind of just falls apart. So I wanted to find an option that was better, but also easier to get. And bicycle inner tires, or inner tubes, was something that I had in my workshop. And yeah, I just had to figure out which angle to cut it, because they were a little bit too snug if I cut it straight. And then I think I did 3 or 4 tests.
Should make a jig for that.
Work. So yeah, so what I did, I just designed a printed part. You just slide the inner tube in, you cut it, and you get this little ribbons. TPU printed bands would be an option. I did try some ABS printed springs. That didn't work. But yeah, TPU printed could work. I guess the big question is, how do you attach it to the arms? But if you could like zip tie it or something. But that would be an interesting experiment, figuring out the optimal size and design of some TPU prints. But the MP jets, with those you don't need any rubber bands or inner tire or something. The MP jets are just that good.
So if you're using the MP jets, you don't need the rubber bands?
Correct. The rubber bands are there to kind of close up any slack there is on the in the joints. So it doesn't require a lot of tension. There just needs to be some tension. Ideally, it should be equal on all 6 joints. So just wrapping a rubber band around all of it just kind of sets everything in place and just holds it enough.
Gotcha.
So how we do it, if you look at my printables page, I have a mod for that there.
All right, so what is the bolting pattern on this? Because that's 5 and 3 by 8.
M3 by 8, yes. So if anyone wants to see, I can do this. Oh yeah, because I changed something. A moment. There we go. So in case anyone wants to see that's my attempt at making a printable spring to put on the arms, but it just doesn't work. There's so the arms would cause these to move in all 3 directions, so it doesn't really work. But with TPU, that might be better.
One, two, three, four, five.
How long
six,
did it take to
seven,
design
8.
this? So we did talk about this earlier, but so the base design for Delta Flyer was mostly done before we started this kit, because Rollahan did make a Delta Flyer before this. So the actual kit design and getting everything set up with LDO is about 6 months total. The design is about a year total. So just designing a printer, if we didn't have to work with a manufacturer, it can be a couple of days to a couple of months. Yeah, TPU and a zip tie could be a viable option. Absolutely.
Trying to figure out the optimal bolt spacing on these.
So just keep in mind that when the nozzle hits the bed, there's about, I don't know, 120 millimeters of rail that just doesn't get used at all. So the lower parts of it isn't super important. So Armor, I did see just a couple of snippets from your stream. I didn't get to see it live, unfortunately. And I did see that you printed a full one-piece lid. And I'm not saying you should reprint something because you have something that works, but there is a mod that has some better top lids. You might want to have a look at it, but I'm not saying print it. I'm just saying have a look.
All right, so bias this rail towards the top.
Yeah.
Is there? There wasn't any jigs for centering this rail onto here.
So when we do the final manual, I think Rollahan is already working on a tool to center it. I always just have a set of centering tools in my toolkit.
Yeah, I think I threw away mine.
See you, Viking.
All right, so put a set of those to print real quick.
Blam83, there's a printable collection from Rollahan that has all the mods, or just go to my printables page. I think I have most of the mods for the Delta Flyer at this point, but there's a couple more. I recently published a bottom panel as well. Let's see.
here. By the time
Bottom
I'm
panel,
done.
as in the very bottom, yes. Let me just do that.
By the time I'm done setting all this stuff up, these should be printed.
Reprint the panel covering the pad in one piece. Yeah, that's a good idea. Just make sure you use all the screws because they are structural to keep everything together. A bottom panel in one piece. I can make a bottom panel in one piece and send it your way. That I can do.
These are MGN 9s, right?
So the reason why we split everything up is because we assume that most people don't have big enough printers to do everything in one piece.
There's a one-piece what for the bed?
Armor wants a single piece of the. So I made a mod that uses that encloses the bottom as well, and he wants that in a single piece.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this crowd has big printers. I would like a bigger printer. I'd like myself something in the Venture XL size.
I only have my Cobra S1. It's the biggest thing I have working at the moment.
I
Full
guess I can
printer in
put
one
the
piece. I have been toying with that on a Rook. Actually done.
and this is the other one. We need some troops for. David, I saw your delta got quite far. How far into your delta are you? That Nebula printer that you've got is sweet. It's one of the printers that I would like to build at some point. But it's one of those printers that's been out long enough that nobody's going to be interested in sponsoring a kit to build one because, you know, content's already out there. It's not the newest thing. The ROI on it probably not going to make a whole lot of sense for somebody to sponsor it. Are we just lining up this bottom extrusion with the well-calibrated touch and feel, or?
You line it up after you get the side panels on. It's self-centering at that point. right. Denver.
All right. There's one. Put this off to the side. I'll come back and tighten all these rails once the centering jig's finished printing. Thanks, David. You're the only one that made content on it? Really? I don't know. It seems like a big ask. I would be really hesitant to go to somebody and be like, hey, I'll sponsor a really expensive printer. Just in a cold call like that.
Look at V0. Careful was like, what the fuck? Another printer, then she saw the frame. Yeah, it's tiny. All right, Armor 3D. I've uploaded the single piece bottom cover to printables. So it's just in the same repo as the rest of the bottom covers.
I'll end up printing that myself, I think. The V0 is nice. It and this printer probably kind of fall into that same category of I need part in the middle of build, like I need centering jigs for my rail, you know, kind of thing. That's why I should have printed them. I set it up on the switch wire over there to print, but should have just set them to the V0. But it's whatever. I need to put time on that printer anyway. So when you're in the middle of a build, that printer is indispensable. This is not good. I split this part. I'm pretty good. All the way over the side here. So we might need to reprint this one.
I think you'll be fine, actually. You can always just reprint it and replace it later if it turns out it's not fine, but I think it should be fine.
Later on, I'll back up the screw, clamp it with some acetone in there. Acetone, weld it back together. Probably could fit this on the V0. I should move this
So that
in
got
a
me
little
thinking,
bit.
can you print the big... So ignoring the panel stuff, can you print the actual frame on V0? And I can check that really quickly. Just go in here, adding a sketch, or I can just put it on in the slicer. It's really close to print it on a V0. If you shave off just a tiny bit of the outside of the corner pieces, you can.
All right, let's go look at David's here.
Yeah, I thank you, Armor. I just saw that, and that looks insane. So the uprights don't have to be on the printer to make it functional, so you don't actually have to have them. I think Armorall would maybe be interested in a project that I did a long time ago, which was trying to design a fully printed one-piece printer. So you'll print the entire frame, the motor mounts, and everything in one go, and then put the rails on.
That'd be super fun. Oh. Yeah,
I would have to find it in my old files first.
David, I want one of those
2 years ago.
nebulas so bad. I think it's so sweet looking. Someday. Reverend, how are we doing?
Yeah, put a box total on that thing. Index. So, just a question for you then.
Yeah.
If you could just buy one printer right now, and it can't be a kit, what would you get?
Oh, if I could buy one that wasn't a quick kit, currently released or unreleased?
Currently released that you can just buy right now.
Probably an H2D. I would go with the H2C if it had been out longer, but it's not been out long enough for me to know whether or not it's going to prove consistent and reliable. No, Prusa XL I want as a kit. I want to actually build that, David. And they still haven't released a version that includes the enclosure They need an enclosure, like printer, 5 heads, and enclosure. Don't make me buy it all separate.
Yeah, I agree. I can agree on that. I think a lot of people. It also depends on what you're doing in this hobby. If you're just printing multicolor, then you don't need an enclosure. But for people like us that are into the actual building and the mechanical part of the hobby, if I could call it that, having it enclosed is like you need that, and having multi tool heads is more practical for me because then I can do TPU and ABS.
Well, that's why I asked released or unreleased, because if you included unreleased, it would be the Core 1L with the Bondtech index system on it.
Yeah.
So
that would be.
That's why I did ask released or unreleased.
Yeah.
Because the answer is really dependent on that. Vince, what's up? And the reason why I would only buy I would only buy the index system as a pre-built versus the wanting it as a kit is because there's some variables there that I want somebody else to be responsible for if something's not working right. So going with an unreleased printer that I don't know reviews on would be a situation where I'd want it built by the manufacturer the way they think it needs to be built, and then if I've got a problem, it wasn't my fault.
Yeah. So I'm sort of in the same mindset. If I need to buy something right now, it would need to be something that I can just put in its place and then just use it. Because as much as I love building printers and designing printers and all that stuff, having a reliable machine that I can always trust just works is kind of alpha omega right now.
Yep, agreed.
That's not the situation that I'm in.
That's why H2D over H2C.
Yeah, I would get the H2D is a good option. The XL would be the perfect one if it had a full enclosure as a whole unit, just full enclosure. You didn't have to get anything extra.
Yeah, if they had
the U1, I haven't looked at all. If the U1 has a full enclosure, it would be on my list.
My reason for not going U1 is one of two things are going on with the U1s. Because when I look at prints in people's videos, the layer stacking on them is not up to my standard.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's their coupling system, because it's not just between different tools. It's in the same color. I don't know if that's a them issue or a whoever is printing it issue, where they haven't tuned their printer properly. So
because bad stacking can be something as simple as someone hasn't tensioned the belts correctly, or so if a printer is assembled in a warm warehouse and you put it in a cold like garage, then the belts will change their shape, and that is enough to change the print quality. So there's a lot of variables on printers.
Yeah.
So my whole thing about my printers is that I have some Rooks that are perfect. They've been working for years at this point. They never fail, they just work. The problem is that I can't stop modifying my printers, no matter what I do. I keep modifying them, and then I leave them in a semi-state of working, and yeah, so that's the reason I would prefer to get a fully working printer that is, you pull it out of the box, minimum assembly required, like put a spool holder in and something.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, I recently got the Elegoo Centauri Carbon, and I printed all these parts for it, for the Delta Flyer on it. That has been a phenomenal printer. The only thing I did for it was I printed a riser thing that's got vents on it, so I don't have to keep taking the top glass off and whatnot for it. And I mean, I've got a couple hundred hours on it at this point, and I've had zero issues with it. For an inexpensive machine to put in the corner to print all the parts, to modify all your other printers, that's a solid option too.
So I have my Cobra S1, and it might just be that I have a Monday machine, because I got a really early version from the first batch of printers that got released. It's nothing but issues. I would love for that thing to work, but it doesn't seem to be as reliable as I want it to be. And it does really annoy me that it's running a damaged version of Clipper, or a bad version of Clipper.
What do you mean a bad version of Clipper?
So the Cobra S1, it uses something called Go Clipper, which is just someone forking Clipper, modifying it, and then republishing it. But it's super limited, so you can't do a lot of the normal stuff that you would add to a normal Clipper install. And so they've locked. One example is that they've locked down the start macro. It's completely locked. You can't change it.
Yuck.
To change your config, you can't really just go in and change it, because a lot of the stuff is set up with scripts, so that if it's not the normal spec, it'll not turn on. So
yeah, no thank you.
And then you have people like Howie Do It, who has 2,400 hours on his S1.
Yeah,
I've printed a lot on mine, but I just cannot get it to work 3 or 4 prints in a row.
Here's my thing, right? I don't mind. So obviously Bamboo's locked down. I'm not going to be able to go in and change print start macros on it.
Yeah.
They've got a full proprietary thing. If you have gone out and you've gone out of your way to take a thing that is open and works, modify it so that it's not open, and then put it on your machine, I have a problem with that. If you start from the ground up and it's a lockdown thing, I have less issues with that.
Yeah, so I would have less issue with it if it just worked, but it doesn't. And I can make it better by modifying the Clipper, which I have. Captain Kern says, contact support, get a new mainboard. So I've already done that. It changes nothing. So I've changed the mainboard. I've changed the little hosts. I've changed the board on the tool head. I've changed extruders, leveling sensor, everything. I just think I have a Monday machine. It just doesn't want to work. So I'm interested in getting something that's better. I know that a lot of people have Cobra S1s and they're just perfect. I wish mine were. So I have 1,100 hours on mine.
All right.
I can get it to print reliably, but never more than 3 or 4 prints in a row, and then something goes off. I tried talking with supports, but they know who I am, and they've probably seen my videos, so they don't want to talk to me.
Huh. I have that happen a lot.
Yeah, so the first time I talked with them, they were pretty much telling me that I didn't know anything about printers, and then I told them who I am and what I do. And then, yeah, they don't want to respond. If I send in a support ticket, I don't get any response at all. But that being said, I do make videos about modifying their printer, so I don't think they like it. So FlashForge is another brand that I've looked into, the 85X, but it's not enclosed, which makes it not fully what I want. But there is an enclosure mod for it, so I might look into it at some point.
All right, switch wire is still preheating, so I've got some time. So we're gonna go ahead and take these off and lubricate these.
Yeah, I have a friend who has the FlashForge 5M, and he absolutely loves it. It just works.
Someday, I need to make a like YouTube short on how to properly refill syringes with grease. Because every single person in the 3D printing space that I watch refill these things on stream does it wrong.
I just use a popsicle stick and just shove it in there.
So all you've got to do is take a Ziploc bag, sandwich baggie, whatever you've got. All right, spoon out your grease, put it in the corner of the sandwich bag, squeeze it all to the corner, cut off the bottom like it's a piping bag.
Yeah, and
then you take your plunger out and you just pipe it right down into these. And then you take your plunger, put it back in there, and push out the air, the little bit of air that you'll have left at the top. And then they're filled completely perfect all the way up. So I need to do like a little video on how to do it.
So on my Delta, and also every single one of my custom built printers, I have a lubing port for the carriages. So I have a hollow M3 bolt running through the extrusion into the rail.
This is all you got done.
So I can just park the printer at a certain point and squirt the lube in from the sides, and I'm done.
My 6-year-old is giving me hell on the amount of progress that I've gotten done so far.
Hurry up. So come to start them. Oh.
Stay in there, you little bastard.
So I have the same size range that you have with lube, and then I have one that's like this big with the same stuff. Just because
a giant syringe that big?
Yep. So I use the small one, and then I use the big one to just squirt into the small one, and it. So I've only had to fill one once.
Well, next time you got to fill one up from,
Yeah, just use a
giant
bag,
tube.
cut the
Yeah,
corner off.
use a bag.
Yeah.
LTX, how's it going? John, welcome.
I've also meant to look into resin, because there are some tough resins out there that should be able to do what I want to do. So that's an interesting thing that I'm considering.
Yeah, boss is not happy.
So how's the build going so far?
Oh, pretty good. I'm enjoying this.
So both the Rook and the Delta Flyer, they have the same like base idea for how we designed it, and that is that it's supposed to be simple. So there's no fancy features, there's no overly advanced stuff. It should be simple. So anyone that has built like a Voron kit or any other kit printer, they should look at this and say, this was easy and fun.
Yeah.
And for any beginners, it should be an easy introduction. I always say that what we want to try to do with like the Rook stuff and the Delta Flyer is to give you that little gateway drug of getting into custom printers. Because some people look at a 2.4 and say, that's too advanced for me, I can't do that. But if we can get them to build a Rook or a Delta Flyer, then they should leave the experience with, I can do that.
Yeah, and also the price of entry is...
Yeah, it's really low. And that's why we, on both the Rook kit and this kit, we specifically do things to cheap out where we can, just so we can push the price down as low as possible. There's not a lot of profit going around on these kits. They're pretty cheap.
Yeah. I mean, when you put a $300 controller board in a $300 printer,
Yep. A lot of the cost in this kit is the parts that LDO can't make themselves. So hot end and the fans, the bed, and the extruders, they're cheap. The main board is a big portion of the cost, but it's not even close to what they're selling the boards for right now.
yeah.
So we did look at different options for the board, and so the first option was to do a SKR Mini or an SKR Pico or an M4P, and the price for the DZ one it didn't change the overall price of the kit, so we went with the DZ01.
Yeah, and it's a nice clean
Single board, everything on it, and we're hoping to get because there is a power loss function hardware setup on that board.
Yeah.
But we haven't been able to figure out how it's set up for Clipper yet. So hopefully we can get Big Tree Tech to help us with that. But I think Big Tree Tech is mostly done with the project. and trying to be done with the project. So they're
just trying to wash
so
your hands of the
Clipper
situation.
config that they sent us pretty much just had the motors and the pins for that. The rest we had to figure out for ourselves. A lot of poking and measuring, playing around with the multimeter, trying to find all the pins so that we can enable RGB, that we can set up the end stops, get all the fans working, the thermistors working. Yes, John, it is sad that that board is not retail. And I'm not sure why they removed it from their GitHub, but luckily I was able to save their GitHub page or their wiki page before they did that. So on the Delta Flyer website, there is a copy of it. So at least we have some of it.
Yeah.
But I would be very interested in figuring out how they want to set up their, or how they plan to set up Clipper to do the power recovery stuff. Because there's some big caps on the board that should be enough to save state and shut off. There's some pins missing that I haven't found yet. But all the important ones are there. And some of the ones that we don't need are there too. Like the buzzer. I don't need a buzzer, but it's there.
Does anybody use a buzzer on their printer? Raise your hand in chat if you use a buzzer on your printer. I've got a couple minutes till this print finishes, so I'm just gonna go ahead and grease these rails up, right?
Yeah, I did in my early 3D printing days, I set up a Marlin thing so that it would play a little tune at the end of my prints. But now I'm at the point where in my life where I don't really care when stuff is finished. If I really need it, I'm still there looking at it, or I can set up a timer.
Yeah, Octo Everywhere
The
just
Delta
sends me a
Flyer is
notification.
pretty simple because it's on my desk. So when it's finished, I just get blasted with this whole where is it? I get blasted with this light show. So it's pretty easy.
My printer's all flash green when they're done. From the Julian Schill stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. So the macro for this is pretty simple. So you can set it up to do just about anything. Really easy. So like my Cobra S1, it's outside and it has a heated chamber that's not controlled by the printer. So that one I just put on a timer on my phone, and then I turn off the heater and let it cool down.
I should install some heaters in some of my printers. Unnecessary during the summer. Very necessary during the winter.
So for this kit, initially I wanted to get the Micro 4, the Mellow Micro 4, and the FlyPi Mini as a whole unit. And then I wanted to put the LCD on the top of the frame. But yeah, we ended up going with the Big Tree Tech stuff instead. But the Fly Mini Pad and the Micro 4 is just a super little combo.
Well, halfway there. Print didn't completely finish, but we got enough of them to go with it. Air it out for bed heating, not heating at expected rate. There's enough of these parts to get these on.
Yeah, you don't need that much of those. Breath. I don't know what that is.
Vinci.
Oh, it's the air filtration system. I've not been keeping up with all the Big Tree Tech Panda stuff, mostly because I don't have a Big Tree Tech or a bamboo printer.
Yeah, same here. I have no idea what they've got going on with that Panda lineup. Some of the stuff is probably usable for other machines.
Yes.
And I think they're making a mistake by marking it all as this is a bamboo accessory versus this is a 3D printer accessory. And hey, it works with your bamboo.
Yeah. So that little screen that they had that it just connects on your Wi-Fi and it controls your bamboo stuff.
Yeah.
The Panda Touch.
Yeah.
So I have one of those screens because they sent me one when they launched it to make a video. Because if you flash a different firmware, you can just set it up with any Clipper printer.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest issue with it is that when you connect it to a Clipper printer, you don't get access to any of your custom macros. And I do everything with macros on my printers. I have macros for everything. So not having the macros just makes it so that I still would need my phone to use my printer. So I just don't use it.
They need to set it up in such a way that it is just Clipper screen, just straight up Clipper screen. And there's a little button on the side that you can switch between what printer you want.
Yeah, so
and it pulls up Clipper screen for that printer.
The nice thing about it is that it's got an integrated battery, so it lasts for like 20 minutes on that little battery. And then you can just switch on the screen between different printers. But if it would be set up with Clipper screen, which is a whole ecosystem that already works, it would be so much better.
Yeah.
But
That's
finding the right people
was.
to be able to make it work with Clipper screen is just not something that I can do.
Yeah. That's what I thought it was when they released it, and I was super excited about it. And then when I realized, oh, this isn't Clipper screen, a mobile Clipper screen, I was like, all right, I have no interest now.
Yeah, so there's a project called CYD Clipper, which is a similar thing. It's just a wireless little screen that you connect to your Wi-Fi. But that one does have the macro support. So it's like a more polished but less functioning version of that CYD Clipper. So if someone could get the CYD Clipper firmware to run on that Big Tree Tech screen, we would have everything solved. Saying that the Panda Breath can work with any Clipper printer, Vora included. Yeah. But it can still be run completely independent. Yeah. So in my Cobra S1 right now, I have a heater that keeps it at 20 C because my printer is on my balcony. So it's like 4 degrees there right now, C. And I just control that with an app on my phone. Just having a heater in your printer just makes it so much easier to print like ABS and ASA and PP and PC.
Yeah. Like I said, I would love to have them in some, at least some of my printers. And like I said, if they marketed it better and in such a way where it's like, hey, this is a 3D printer accessory.
Yeah.
It works with any 3D printer, but also works with your bamboo machines. I would pay attention to it. But the second they put Panda in front of something, I assume it's a bamboo only thing, right? I don't have the time or bandwidth in my life to go check every time they release a new thing that has Panda in its name to see if it's actually usable for something other than bamboos. I don't.
Yeah.
You figure out your marketing.
Absolutely.
Release the same thing with 2 different names. I don't care because the bamboo people are going to say the same thing, where they're not going to know that it works with bamboo because it doesn't have Panda in its name. Release the product under 2 different names. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. So Big Tree Tech released it with Panda Touch and then K Touch, which I assume is Clipper Touch.
Yeah, exactly. Release your Panda Breath under 2 different names, or whatever the product is.
Yes, Da Vinci. I have my printer. My Cobra S1 is on my balcony, so I have a balcony that's fully enclosed, but it's not insulated, so it's just cold. It's not outside. It's just in a cold room. And that's why I just have a heater set to 25C, 20 or 25C, and it just keeps it there. Always ready.
There was a guy had 2 of the, talking about keeping your printer outside. There's a guy that had 2 of the Anchor Make M5 printers that he was trying to get rid of, and he was just giving them away. All he had to do was pay shipping, but it wasn't worth the shipping for this project that I had in mind. I wanted to get them and do, I don't know if over there you've ever seen them, but there's a ASPCA commercial here where it's just like these animals in horrible conditions and just cold and alone outside and trying to get you to donate money for the ASPCA. And they're all set to this
you want to do that with the Anchor Make?
Yeah, they're all set to this one song. I wanted to do the same thing with the Anchor Make because at the time it was winter, it was snowing. I was like, I can just put them outside in the snow and the rain and just like clip all these different clips together, these 2 sad printers.
So I bought a G-Tech i3 from someone here in the city for like $20. And they had it working at some point, and then something broke and doesn't work anymore. But it's like it's a 12-volt system, right? Everything is 12 volt. It's a really old board. So I bought it with the idea that I was going to make a printer rescue thing. I already have a project that I'm calling the Revival Project, which is rebuilding my first printer but making it perfect. I just can't seem to finish it because I put it on too high of a pedestal, basically. But having that $20 printer it's probably just gonna get a video where I just fix it, make it work again, by using as little parts and money as possible. Armor 3D, I am in cold Norway. So if you go north and then you go even further north and then a little bit more, you might see us up north.
Or alternatively, you just keep going north from where you are, David.
You should
and eventually
end up
you'll
here,
start going south and you'll end up there.
Yep. So fun fact, the city that I live in is further north than Anchorage, Alaska. So I'm all the way up here.
All right, where are we at? Now we need to add side covers. Don't attach the two front corners on the B corner. Attach after the. Okay. So now I have to figure out how these get. So this is AX. So is there just two of these that have these little notches on them?
Yes.
Okay, so
those
they're the
are
ones.
some of the last parts you'll put on the printer.
Okay, so these are the B ones for the front door thing.
Yes.
Let's say not to attach. Okay. Now there's other ones that have little magnet holes in them too.
So there's one that has a hole for a magnet, and that is for the front door. So that's the lower A.
Okay, lower A. Now, is A going to be front left? Okay. So this magnet will go at the top. There's only one that has a magnet hole in it.
There's only one that has a magnet on this side, yeah.
And that's going to go A on the top.
So the one with the magnet is on the bottom, facing you.
That doesn't.
Pull it up in the CAD if you want me. Let me see.
That doesn't seem to line up the right way.
So it's supposed to go. Let me switch here. So it's this guy right here.
Oh, okay. Okay. I got it. Let's see now.
Yep. So the rest on the A pillar are the normal ones, and the C pillar are all the normal ones, and then the B pillar has the two special for the door. So I have to head out. So I wish you good luck on the
All
rest
right.
of your build.
I appreciate it.
And,
Thanks for stopping by and hanging out, chatting,
Yeah.
sharing some background on the printer.
Yeah, and if you have any questions or get stuck, just send me a message and I'll help you through it.
All right, appreciate you.
All right, so I'm just gonna disconnect here then. See
All
you
right.
everyone. Have a nice day, week, evening, whatever.
Right.
All right, bye.
Always love having folks come on. Let's do this camera view. There we go. All right. There, you get a good idea of what the colors are going to look like together. We're not going to be going for too much longer here either. I'm going to get a couple more of these on, and then we'll probably call it a day after that. So, if you haven't already, take the opportunity to hit the like button on the stream. It's always appreciated. Having essentially taken a month off of streaming surrounding holidays and surgery and everything else, it's important to let YouTube know that hey, people still want to watch this stuff. All right, so there we have that. I'll probably put those side pieces on the rest of the uprights between now and the next stream, and put some heat sets in. So that you guys aren't watching the same content again on the next stream. Build seems like it's going to go pretty quick, so that's nice. Again, thank you to LDO Motors for supplying the kit. Thank you to CookieCAD for supplying the filament. Thank you to all the YouTube members. If you would like to support the channel, consider becoming a member. Goes a long way. All the money from it gets put right back into the channel. We've got upcoming series on the Trident again, doing tube, takeoff tool head, Ouroboros, and servos for X and Y. So that's going to be a fun project. All that's paid for by donations to the stream and channel memberships. So they're very much appreciated. They do go right back into the channel. I'm not using them to buy McDonald's or whatnot. Anyway, thank you very much. It's good having everybody here coming back. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your week. Happy New Year. We're going to do one more stream. I got to look at the schedule because we're going down to Columbus for a day or two for the old lady's birthday. I got to look at the calendar to figure out what day we're leaving. And we'll either do another stream tomorrow or Wednesday, depending. All right. Have a great one. Thank you all. Bye.